What if I told you that the very foods you've been eating every single day, the ones that feel harmless, the ones that even look healthy, are the exact same foods quietly stopping you from ever losing weight? Imagine this: you're counting calories, you're working out, you're pushing yourself harder than ever, but the number on the scale refuses to move. Frustrating, right? And yet you're not alone. Millions of people across America are unknowingly sabotaging their weight loss journey with foods that sneak into their diets under the disguise of convenience, taste, and even health. The truth is, weight loss is not just about what you add into your diet, it's even more about what you take out. See, food is powerful. It can either heal you or harm you. It can either unlock your metabolism or completely shut it down. And in today's world, packed with processed snacks, sugary drinks, and quick fixes, the odds are stacked against you. Companies spend billions to make their products addictive, to trick your taste buds, to flood your body with sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats that make you crave more and more. And guess what? That's why your body is storing fat instead of burning it. Now here's the kicker: some of the foods keeping you stuck are the ones you actually think are helping you. That healthy breakfast cereal you bought. It might be the reason your belly fat won't go away. That low-fat snack bar in your pantry. It might be worse than eating a candy bar. These are the lies the food industry has fed us. And if you truly want to shed pounds, reclaim your energy, and finally see the results you deserve, you need to know exactly what's going on. That's why in this video, we're going to expose 50 foods you absolutely must avoid if you're serious about losing weight. And this isn't just some random list. This is about pulling back the curtain on the everyday items sitting in your fridge, in your cabinets, in your grocery cart, the ones that feel harmless, but are silently working against your health goals. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to cut out, what to swap, and how to take control of your body like never before. So don't look away, don't click off. Because the difference between staying stuck in the same cycle of frustration and finally unlocking the body you dream of might come down to the very foods we're about to reveal. Your weight loss journey doesn't start tomorrow. It starts right now. You see, the biggest trap in our daily lives is not always the food that looks obviously unhealthy. Everyone knows donuts, candy bars, and milkshakes are bad for weight loss. But the real danger lies in the foods that look harmless, even healthy, yet silently force your body to store fat instead of burning it. Think about the last time you poured yourself a tall glass of fruit juice, thinking you were making the right choice. Maybe it said 100% natural on the label. Maybe it had pictures of oranges, apples, or berries splashed across the front. But what the label doesn't scream out loud is that inside that bottle is basically liquid sugar. The fiber that keeps you full has been stripped away, and what you're left with is a drink that hits your bloodstream like a sugar bomb. It spikes your insulin, triggers fat storage, and leaves you hungrier than before. And that's the cycle these foods create. They don't just feed your hunger, they fuel it. Now imagine this happening not once, not twice, but multiple times a day. You start your morning with a so-called healthy cereal, maybe with a splash of juice. By lunch, you grab a sandwich made with soft white bread and perhaps a diet soda to save calories. Later, in the afternoon, you might reach for a granola bar or flavored yogurt just to keep your energy up. And by dinner, maybe pizza or fried chicken or a quick burger from the drive-thru because you're tired. Sound familiar? It's the exact trap millions of people fall into every single day. The scary part? Most of these foods are marketed as harmless, convenient, or even weight loss friendly. Yet, they are the reason people struggle for years and years without results. When you eat these foods, you're not just eating calories. You're eating chemicals, preservatives, hidden sugars, and unhealthy oils that are engineered to make you crave more. Food companies know exactly what they're doing. They design their products to light up the reward centers in your brain, the same way addictive substances do. That's why one handful of chips turns into the whole bag. That's why one scoop of ice cream somehow becomes an empty pint. It's not because you lack discipline. It's because these foods are built to override your willpower. Take soda, for example. One can seem innocent. It's cold, it's refreshing, it feels satisfying, but here's the catch. That one can often contains the same amount of sugar as eating 4 or 5 donuts. Would you ever sit down and eat 5 donuts in one sitting? Probably not. But when you drink it, your brain doesn't even register it as food. It doesn't register fullness. It just pushes the sugar into your bloodstream, forces your body to release insulin, and stores the excess as fat. Diet soda doesn't save you either. Artificial sweeteners confuse your brain, increase sugar cravings, and mess with your metabolism in ways that actually make weight loss harder. And let's not forget white bread and pasta. They may look simple and harmless, but they act almost like sugar once they're inside your body. They're stripped of fiber, stripped of nutrients, and they leave you with a quick spike in energy followed by a crash. That's why after a sandwich or a plate of white pasta, you feel hungry just an hour later. The cycle never ends. You keep eating, your body keeps storing, and the scale never moves. It doesn't stop there. Processed meats, sausages, bacon, hot dogs, these aren't just high in calories and fat. They're packed with sodium, nitrates, and additives that not only affect your weight, but also your long-term health. The truth is, these foods are calorie-dense and nutrient-poor. You eat them, but they don't feed your body what it actually needs. So you end up eating more and more in search of real nutrition, but all you're doing is stacking on more empty calories. Even foods we grew up loving, like French fries, chips, or pizza, are traps. They hit all the pleasure buttons: salty, fatty, crispy, cheesy. They make you feel good in the moment, but they leave behind guilt, bloating, and stubborn fat that refuses to go away. And think about it. When was the last time you ate fries and said, "I feel light, energized, and ready to conquer the day"? It never happens. You feel sluggish, weighed down, and you crave even more junk. That's the design. That's how they hook you. The problem with many people trying to lose weight is not that they're lazy or unmotivated. It's that they're unknowingly feeding their bodies the exact foods that work against them. Breakfast cereals that are supposed to fuel your day are often more sugar than dessert. Yogurts with fruit flavorings have more sugar than ice cream. Smoothies bought from stores, they can have as much sugar as 2 cans of soda. Even the so-called energy drinks do more harm than good, spiking your blood sugar and crashing your energy, so you crave more caffeine and sugar to keep going. And it doesn't end with drinks or snacks. Let's talk about alcohol. Beer, cocktails, sweetened mixers, they don't just add empty calories, they disrupt your metabolism, making it harder for your body to burn fat. Alcohol slows down fat oxidation, meaning your body burns alcohol calories first, leaving fat calories stored. That's why regular drinkers often see weight pile up around the belly, creating that stubborn beer belly effect. Now, if this sounds like a lot, it's because it is. These foods are everywhere. They're at the grocery store, at restaurants, in vending machines, in our kids' lunches. They're designed to be convenient, cheap, and addictive, but once you begin to recognize them for what they really are, obstacles standing in the way of your weight loss, you begin to take your power back. And that's the first step toward change. Think for a moment about how subtle this trap really is. You go to the store with good intentions, maybe even determined to buy healthy foods, but the shelves are lined with products that scream low-fat, sugar-free, or natural. You trust the label, you trust the branding, but deep down these products are engineered for profit, not for your health. That low-fat muffin, it's loaded with sugar to make up for the taste. That all-natural granola bar, it's just a candy bar in disguise, covered in oats to fool your eye. And flavored yogurt, the kind you hand your kids or eat yourself thinking it's wholesome, often has as much sugar as a dessert. This is why so many people stay stuck. They're not overeating fast food every day. They're unknowingly poisoning their progress with foods marketed as healthy. Imagine this. You've been working hard, counting your steps, going to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. You feel like you're doing everything right, but every night you come home and grab a frozen meal, pop it in the microwave, and think, well, at least I didn't order takeout. The truth: those frozen meals are often salt bombs with hidden fats, preservatives, and so many additives that your body barely recognizes them as food. They don't nourish you, they just fill a hole in your stomach, leaving you tired, bloated, and heavier over time. It's not just what's obvious, it's what's hidden that hurts you most. The same goes for things like flavored coffee drinks. Maybe you start your day with a mocha, caramel latte, or frappuccino. It feels harmless, just a coffee, right? But some of those drinks pack more sugar than 2 cans of cola. That means your morning routine is setting you up for a day of cravings and crashes. By lunchtime, you're hungrier, you're irritable, and you're reaching for quick, high-calorie fixes that you wouldn't have needed if you had just started the day clean. One of the most dangerous ideas the food industry ever sold us is that liquid calories don't count. They do. In fact, they count more, because your brain doesn't register them the way it does solid food. Whether it's sodas, juices, smoothies, or sweetened teas, every sip adds up, and before you know it, you've consumed the equivalent of a full meal just through drinks. The problem is, you don't feel full, so you eat the meal anyway. That's how sneaky calories keep stacking up, day after day, year after year. And think about processed snacks, the little things you reach for when you're bored or stressed. Chips, popcorn loaded with artificial butter, cheese dips, trail mix coated with chocolate candies, none of them seem like a big deal on their own. But these foods are designed to be hyper, palatable, meaning your brain lights up like a Christmas tree with every bite. You keep eating not because you're hungry, but because your body is chasing the high. Before you know it, you've consumed hundreds, maybe thousands of calories in a single sitting, and you're still not satisfied. Even foods we consider basic staples can hurt your progress. White rice, for instance, is a refined carb stripped of fiber and nutrients. It digests so quickly that your blood sugar skyrockets, and your body responds by storing fat. Compare that to brown rice or quinoa, which digest slowly and provide real nutrition. The difference in weight loss progress can be night and day, but most people never stop to think about the difference. They just eat what's convenient, what they grew up with, and wonder why their efforts aren't paying off. And then there's alcohol. Let's be honest, a drink here or there doesn't seem like a big deal. But alcohol is metabolized differently than food. When you drink, your body prioritizes burning off the alcohol first because it sees it as a toxin. That means fat burning takes a back seat. While you're sipping that beer or cocktail, your body has basically pressed pause on your weight loss. And many cocktails are sugar bombs on top of that margaritas, daiquiris, mixed drinks with soda or juice. You're not just drinking alcohol, you're drinking a dessert with a shot of liquor. No wonder belly fat hangs on stubbornly when drinking is a regular part of your lifestyle. What makes this worse is that alcohol lowers inhibitions. After a couple of drinks, suddenly fast food or late night snacking seems like a great idea, and that creates not just one bad decision, but a chain of them. One drink leads to overeating, overeating leads to guilt, guilt leads to giving up, and before long, you're trapped in the same cycle again. But perhaps the cruelest trick of all is how the food industry takes something good and ruins it. Take nuts, for example. Raw almonds or peanuts in moderation can be healthy, but what do companies do? They coat them in sugar, honey, chocolate, or salt until they're no longer healthy snacks but calorie bombs. Or take oats. On their own, oats are fantastic, full of fiber, slowed, digesting, satisfying, but the instant oatmeal packets on store shelves, they're laced with sugar, artificial flavorings, and syrups. Instead of giving you sustained energy, they give you a sugar rush followed by a crash. The food itself wasn't the enemy, it's what was done to it. That's the heartbreaking part of all of this. So many foods that should be nourishing, energizing, and supportive of your weight loss have been hijacked, processed, and stripped of everything good. The result is a food landscape where you have to fight just to eat real, clean, simple meals. And if you don't know better, you get caught in the trap of convenience, thinking you're making progress while you're really standing still. The truth is harsh, but it's also freeing. Once you know which foods are the enemy, you can finally stop blaming yourself. You can stop wondering why nothing works. Because it's not that you're broken, it's not that you lack willpower, it's that the very system around you has been designed to keep you stuck. When you understand that, suddenly the power shifts back into your hands. And that power is what changes everything. Because when you remove these foods, when you finally say no to the sodas, the fake diet snacks, the processed meals, the fried junk, the sugar-coated lies, your body responds. It doesn't take months or years to notice a difference. Within days, your energy improves. Within weeks, your cravings start to fade. And as the months go by, the weight you thought would never move begins to disappear. Not because you starved yourself, not because you tortured yourself, but because you finally gave your body a chance to do what it was designed to do: burn fat, thrive, and heal. Now let's go deeper. Because avoiding the wrong foods isn't just about cutting calories or fitting into smaller clothes. It's about reclaiming control over your body and your life. Think about how many times you've promised yourself that this time will be different. You set goals, maybe you even start strong, but eventually the cravings creep back in. You find yourself reaching for that bag of chips, that pint of ice cream, or that sugary drink you swore you'd never touch again. And every time it happens, you don't just feel guilty about the food, you feel like you failed. That's the most dangerous part, not the calories themselves, but the cycle of self-blame that eats away at your confidence. But here's the truth you need to hear: it's not all your fault. These foods are engineered to keep you hooked. Scientists in the food industry literally design them to hit the bliss point in your brain, that perfect combination of sugar, salt, and fat that makes you want more and more. You're not overeating because you're weak. You're overeating because billion-dollar corporations have turned your biology into their business plan. And until you cut these foods out, your brain will keep craving them like an addict craves a drug. Think about fast food for a moment. The smell alone can pull you in. Burgers dripping with grease, fries salted to perfection, milkshakes thick with sugar. It's not just food, it's a carefully crafted experience built to hijack your senses. And the scariest part, it works. How many times have you told yourself you'd just grab something small, only to end up with a tray loaded with calories your body didn't need? That's not weakness, that's strategy. They designed it to be irresistible, and until you step away, you'll stay caught in their game. And let's talk about fried foods. Crispy chicken, onion rings, mozzarella sticks, donuts, they crunch, they sizzle, they melt in your mouth. But what they leave behind is inflammation, clogged arteries, and fat that sticks to your waistline. Deep frying transforms ordinary food into a weapon against your health. Oils used in restaurants and packaged snacks are often the cheapest, lowest quality oils available, high in trans fats and chemicals. They don't just add calories, they actively harm your metabolism, making it harder and harder for your body to burn fat, even when you're eating less. But maybe you're not into fast food. Maybe you think, I cook at home, I'm safe. Are you? Let's look at your pantry. White bread, that's just sugar in disguise. Pasta made with refined flour, same story. Crackers, cookies, flavored instant noodles, they may not feel like junk food, but they're engineered the same way, stripped of nutrients, packed with additives, designed to make you eat more than you should. And here's where it gets even trickier: portion sizes. In America especially, we've been trained to think that more is better. A small soda used to be 8 ounces. Now a small is 16 or 20 ounces, and a large is basically a bucket. Restaurant plates are oversized, serving sizes are inflated, and without even realizing it, you're consuming 2 or 3 meals worth of calories in one sitting. No wonder weight loss feels impossible. The system is built to overfeed you. Now imagine the silent damage happening inside your body every time you load up on these foods. The sugar rush spikes your insulin, your body goes into fat storage mode, and then the crash leaves you hungry again. So you reach for another snack, and the cycle continues. Over time, this constant roller coaster wears down your metabolism, your hormones, your energy. You feel sluggish, tired, and frustrated, but the cravings don't stop. And then there's the emotional side. How many times have you turned to food for comfort? After a long day, after a fight, after stress at work. Comfort foods are usually the worst offenders: ice cream, cookies, chips, pizza. They don't solve your problems, they just numb them for a moment. But the weight, the guilt, the frustration, those stay. And slowly, food shifts from being fuel for your body to being an emotional crutch that holds you back. The dangerous part is that many of these foods are woven into your traditions, your family gatherings, your social life. Pizza night with friends, barbecue on the weekend, holiday desserts that everyone insists you just have to try. And saying no can feel impossible, even rude. But here's the hard truth. Every time you say yes to those foods, you're saying no to your goals. You're saying no to your health. You're saying no to the version of yourself you could become. The weight doesn't just show up on your body, it shows up in your life. It shows up in the clothes that don't fit, in the photos you avoid taking, in the energy you don't have to play with your kids. It shows up in the mirror, in your self-esteem, in the dreams you keep putting off because you don't feel ready. That's why avoiding these foods matters. It's not about perfection, it's about freedom. Freedom from cravings, freedom from shame, freedom from being controlled by the very foods that are supposed to fuel you. When you start cutting these foods out, the changes are shocking. Your taste buds reset. Suddenly, real food, fresh fruit, lean protein, vegetables tastes better. You start to crave the foods that actually help you instead of the ones that hurt you. Your body begins to trust you again. Instead of fighting against you, it starts working with you. The fat you've carried for years begins to melt away, your energy skyrockets, and you realize you're capable of so much more than you thought. And once you feel that freedom, there's no going back. You stop looking at fast food as a treat and start seeing it for what it is, a trap. You stop reaching for snacks out of habit and start choosing meals that make you stronger. You stop being controlled and start being in control. This isn't about punishment, it's about power, because every time you say no to these foods, you're saying yes to a better life. A life where you wake up energized, where you feel confident in your body, where you're not chained down by cravings and guilt. A life where you finally see the results you've been chasing for years. So remember this, the foods you avoid shape your future just as much as the foods you eat. Every choice you make either pulls you further from your goals or brings you closer to them. The difference between failure and success isn't luck, it's knowledge, discipline, and the courage to step away from what's easy in order to claim what's worth it. And now, as we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and reflect on what you've just heard. For so long, you may have believed that weight loss was about willpower, about grinding harder at the gym, about pushing through hunger and hoping for the best. But now you know the truth. The foods you choose every single day are either opening the door to success or slamming it shut in your face. The secret isn't buried in some magic pill or extreme diet. The secret is right there in front of you, in the everyday decisions that either fuel your body or poison it. Think about it. You've learned how clever, how manipulative, how destructive these foods can be. You've seen how they hijack your cravings, how they trick your mind, how they chain you to patterns that keep you stuck. But you've also seen that there's another path, a path where you take control, where you stop being a victim of marketing and start being the author of your own transformation. Imagine yourself 6 months from now. You've cut out the foods that held you back. You've replaced them with choices that give you energy, strength, and clarity. You're lighter, not just on the scale, but in your spirit. You look in the mirror and you actually love what you see. You feel proud because every day you're proving to yourself that change is possible. That's the future waiting for you if you're willing to start today. Because here's the truth, nothing changes until you do. You can keep eating the same foods and expecting different results, or you can draw the line and decide that enough is enough. This isn't just about losing weight, it's about gaining life. It's about waking up with energy, moving through your day with confidence, and stepping into the best version of yourself. So don't just listen to this video and forget it. Take action, open your fridge, look into your pantry, and be honest with yourself. What foods are holding you back? What patterns are keeping you stuck? And most importantly, what are you willing to let go of in order to finally become who you were meant to be? The power is in your hands. Every choice you make is a vote for the body, the health, and the life you want. Say no to the foods that drain you, and say yes to the foods that fuel you. Step out of the cycle of cravings and guilt, and step into freedom, strength, and lasting transformation. You've heard the truth. You know what to do. Now it's time to act, because the life you dream of isn't waiting for tomorrow. It begins the moment you decide, and that moment is right now.